Good evening, my Winston-Salem family. The proudest moment during my tenure was when we were able to raise the funds, get approval, and build what was then additional classrooms for the religious school. Prior to that time, we had been meeting anywhere that was available on a given Sunday morning. It could be a cloakroom, a closet, whatever was available. And to add classrooms was a tremendous accomplishment, and we were all really proud. I wish you all a happy, healthy new year, healthy especially. And I look forward to being able to celebrate again in Winston-Salem next year. Be well.
Shana Tova, everybody. I came to Winston-Salem in 1958 to start medical school at what was called Bowman Gray School of Medicine. Coming from the city of New York, where it was easy to hide in the bushes and not do anything, I realized that coming to a smaller community meant that you had to participate and express your Judaism in such a way that it was a positive experience for yourself and your family. Shimon suggested that I become Gabbai at the high holidays. And in those days, you may remember, the Gabbai did all of the services for both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I particularly enjoyed giving a few Hebrew names to some of our more Reform members, and I hope they still remember their Jewish names. I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday and enjoy your time, and hopefully next year we can all be together. Shana Tova.
The 1980s was a time in Temple Emanuel's history in which the tight-knit Jewish community of Winston-Salem was evident. It was a time of bake sales and bagel booths. It was a time when multi-generational families came together to work at the Dixie Classic Fair and represent the Jewish community to a community that still didn't know much about Jews and Judaism. And I would have to say that that was the first year in Temple Emanuel's history when we used the new Reform prayer book, The Gates of Repentance, which had been published in 1984, and we used it probably in 1985. I want to show you a picture of that because one thing that you need to see is that it opened from right to left. I guess I would say that during the 70s and 80s, the Reform movement decided it was no longer going to try to pretend that we were Episcopalians and decided instead that we were actually Jews. I just want to wish each and every one of you a healthy and happy new year and long life. We enjoyed our years in Winston-Salem.
An anti-Semite had threatened to do damage to our temple during the high holidays. When I heard about it, I alerted the police. They responded swiftly by posting uniformed police officers outside the temple throughout services. Thankfully, no damage was done. And we installed a comprehensive security system to protect the temple and its precious contents. Jews confronted existential threats from the very beginning, but despite these grave challenges, we've endured, standing tall, living in freedom, happiness, and dignity. I'd like to wish you and your family a happy, healthy, and sweet New Year. Lashana Tova. Thank you.
Kathy and I arrived here with our son in 1976, and Temple Emanuel has been a major part of our lives ever since. And when I was asked to become president, when it was my turn, I felt that in some ways I owed it to my father, who had passed away in 1977, to accept the job, because my father, at the time of his death, was the president of his synagogue in New York City. And I said this from the pulpit during my presidency. The high holidays are a very, very special time. There's a certain mystery about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur that brings Jews together and makes them feel centered. I wish everybody a happy and healthy New Year, and may this COVID crisis be over soon.
Shana Tova. One of the characteristics of our temple family is our sense of community. As I reflect on my tenure as president, I am most proud of how our family came together in times of simcha and sadness. In October 1996, Gene Fromson chaired the committee that created our first mitzvah day with over 225 participants. In February of 1997, our community came together to mourn the loss of two of our most beloved young people, Robin and Michael Block. I was so very proud of how our community came together to support both the Block family and the rest of our congregation. In the Shema, we say, Vishinantam levanecha, and you shall teach them to your children. I feel very privileged to have taught in our religious school for almost 4 decades and to be currently serving as our religious school director. I greatly appreciate the support our school gets from both our parents and from our general congregation. Donna and I would like to wish each of you a Lashana Tova Tikatevu V'Tichamtemu, a good year, and may you be inscribed and sealed in the book of life.
Lashana Tova. I think the thing I'm most proud of during my tenure was the culmination of the 2 years of work by the Long Range Planning Committee and the Development Committee headed up by Leonard Klein that resulted in our being able to present to the congregation in June of 1999 the plans for the expansion and building of a new sanctuary building, renovation of our old building into an education building, and the capital campaign that followed that. I've always felt as a human being, a wife, a mother, a physician, and a volunteer that I wanted to help people heal, comfort, and make a difference in the world. And I find that being Jewish helps me make a deeper spiritual connection to other people, and that gives me a lot of peace and joy. Lashana Tova.
The turn of the century was a very, very interesting time. We had outgrown our old building and knew we needed a new one. We needed a new rabbi, so we spent 2 years building a building and searching for Rabbi Mark. Everyone is delighted that he's here now. It's an amazing Jewish community. It allowed us to express our Judaism when we moved here in ways we never anticipated, having come from much bigger Jewish communities. And I only can wish you all a Shana Tova for the new year and for the coming year.
Greetings from our home at Allegro Senior Living in Boynton Beach, Florida. I am Edith Salzberg, and this is my husband, Ted, who was Temple President from 2001 until 2003. One of Ted's proudest moments as president was the hiring of Rabbi Mark. As part of the Temple Emanuel community, we enjoy taking an active role in Friday night Shabbat services, attending Mavens, and spending time with our Chavurah. Ted especially enjoyed hosting our Chavurah and our supper for many years. Temple Emanuel was our spiritual home for over 25 years, and we treasure the many lifelong friends we have in the community to this day. For both of us, being Jewish is a way of life that we share with our children, grandchildren, and friends. During this unusual time, both Ted and I wish you all a Happy New Year. We miss all of you. Stay safe and hug your loved ones. Shana Tova.
Hello and Happy New Year. The first day I was president when we had our Sunday morning meeting and I was installed as president, and I looked out and I saw my two boys, Bradley and Joel, sitting in the audience, and I felt very proud to be taking on this duty, this responsibility, and demonstrating to them how important Judaism is in our lives and how it's a commitment. It's something we should do. As far as my memories of High Holy Days, of course, we have so many. I hate to say it, but I always think of the break the fast, because there's nothing like that bagel and cream cheese right after you've been fasting. And as a final thought, I just want to wish everybody a very happy and safe New Year, and hope that we can all be together next year, and hopefully 2021 will be a great year for all of us.
Perhaps my most favorite time of being president was when I went with the rabbi, 2 of my children, and 22 other members of this congregation to Israel during the summer of 2006, where we explored Israel and we explored our relations with each other. We did a number of prayers all around Israel, and we do those prayers during the services here in Winston-Salem. I'm reminded of the different places we were at in Israel where we celebrated that. I love all the moments here at High Holidays in Temple Emanuel, but perhaps my most favorite moment was when my daughter Ariel and son Gary, during the morning service of Yom Kippur, attended the Haftorah. I love being Jewish. The work that I do, mostly as a criminal defense lawyer, is completely inspired by the fact that I was Jewish. I'm here to make sure that everyone has a fair shot. That's what Judaism has taught me and trained me, and it's what I've put into my life on a daily basis. And by being Jewish has allowed me to help so many people. Good young.
During my tenure, I worked with an amazing board and 2 awesome rabbis, Josh Brown and Mark Cohn. I am proud that the position allowed for my individual growth both as a leader in our community and as a congregant, especially evident when we established the Mavens Group for our senior members. I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood on Long Island surrounded by family and friends. During the High Holy Days, schools were closed, and I remember walking with the community to services, my mother always wearing a new hat. Halfway through services, my friends and I would gather in a large tent in the parking lot to attend junior congregation services. I have always enjoyed our services here at Temple Emanuel, as it is truly my second Jewish home. Lindsay joins me in wishing each of you a Shana Tova. Thank you.
I'm Jay Schifrin. I was president from 2010 to 2012 here at Temple Emanuel. Moment of pride of being president, I had a couple. I was lucky enough to have both 2 rabbis, Rabbi Mark and Rabbi Josh. And another thing I remember was doing a bar mitzvah on the 35th anniversary of my bar mitzvah. And that was a special moment. High Holidays, you know, I love community. I love people all coming together and the traditions of it. And being Jewish, you know, again, the food, the camaraderie, the tradition. You know, it's hard having the High Holidays this year without being together. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. As I think back at this holiday time, I'm reminded of attending Mount Sinai Temple in Sioux City, Iowa with my parents. At the time, I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And I actually looked forward to Rosh Hashanah services to hear the rabbi's sermon. Now, that sounds unusual, but here's the deal. Rabbi Brooks would, during those years, report on what I did this summer. And what Rabbi Brooks did was travel to the south, to places like Mississippi and Alabama, to participate in voter registration drives and to go on civil rights marches. And at this time of year, I think back to how that inspired me to make social action an important element of my Judaism. So with that, I want to wish you a good year, L'Shana Tova.
My favorite memories of the High Holidays have to be my dad, Lou Gottlieb, annually getting called up to be the Gabbai and not quite knowing what his tune was going to be. There's no one thing, but a series of events that I'm proud of. It's a real honor to be invited into members' homes for births, for coming to temple for brisses and consecrations, bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and even to be invited into members' homes for Shiva minions. It just means a lot to the president, and it meant a lot to me to be able to do that. So on behalf of Lou Gottlieb and my family, Jennifer, Noah, Celia, and myself, Shana Tova.
My proudest moment as president was when our Interfaith Connections group first got together It is a part of our engagement initiative and a symbol of our inclusive community. And I love how we've adapted and changed to meet the needs of our very diverse congregation. I am so proud that such a wide variety of people feel that they are a part of our Temple Emanuel. I love being Jewish and part of this beautiful community, and my favorite high holiday memories are of our times in this shul with our children, celebrating our traditions and taking time to sit quietly and reflect. I'm so sad that we won't gather in person together this year, but I know that we're all together in spirit. Wishing you a happy, sweet, and healthy New Year.
During my presidency, we interviewed over 160 congregants to get a pulse on the congregation. We applied and received a $25,000 grant from the Levine Foundation, and we hired Olivia full-time as our engagement coordinator. We also created a security task force and a recovery task force in response to the pandemic. We applied and received an $80,000 PPP loan and ended both years financially in the black. It was a busy 2 years. Every year, I look forward to celebrating the High Holy Days. From the moment the Torahs are dressed in white to the day the Torah is re-rolled, so we may explore our sacred texts once again through a different lens. Although we cannot be together as a congregation within our sanctuary, my heart is full, knowing we are together spiritually, and I wish you all a sweet and prosperous New Year. Shana Tova.
I'd like to wish all of you a Shana Tova. I'm currently the Temple Board President, so what I'm most proud of is fairly new, since I just assumed this role in July. I'm proud to be standing here before you today, know I'm serving all of you and representing you and the needs of our Temple community. I'm also proud of how we're adapting in this current environment with style and grace, bringing to you new and innovative ideas to get you engaged in our Temple community. Some of what I think about in terms of my pride of being Jewish, it's being here at the Temple and the sense of community that we have. It's a safe place to come. During High Holy Days, the traditions and the values bringing families and community together just warms my heart. So I wish all of you a Shana Tova. Look forward to seeing you during the High Holy Days, either virtually or in some of our small groups, and I'd encourage you to engage in them as we have prepared them for you. Shana Tova.